This is the kind of future that we're seeking. This is the vision that we would like Australia to be part of. These slides are obviously from cities and towns overseas, but as we've seen in Australia, there's plenty more wind farms being built. Hopefully the renewable energy target will stay in its present form, if not increase. We believe that the renewable energy target should be a lot bigger than 20%. And you know, we've got other countries overseas going for much more ambitious renewable energy targets. And Australia, given its huge potential in wind, pump storage, hydro, solar thermal, PV, etc., we can be moving to a 100% renewable energy economy. As you probably know, we've done a lot of work on concentrated solar thermal. This has kind of been our brand, BCD's brand, for a number of years. And you know, this kind of technology is very powerful and really busts the myth that renewables don't work when the sun doesn't shine and the wind doesn't blow, as we've heard from the Prime Minister. We are showing through our work on renewable energy that these technologies are available to have 24-hour power, and we should be getting on and building them. Plants like this are being built in the USA, in Morocco, in Chile, in Spain. You know, every inhabited continent in the world is building this. So hopefully Australia will be the next inhabited continent to build this. We've seen some really encouraging moves in Port Augusta recently. We've been working a lot with the people in Port Augusta and with the previous mayor in Port Augusta who wanted to build this technology in Port Augusta. We've heard recently from Alinta that they've been conducting a feasibility study into solar thermal, concentrated solar thermal in Port Augusta, and they've announced just in the last few weeks that they want to go ahead. So that's very encouraging news. Fully supportive of this, Alinta. Please go ahead. Secure the finance, secure the partner to build it, and let's get on with it, because once we build one, we should be building a lot more. This is the future we don't want, and this is, you know, this is very real. This is a real photo, and we don't want any more of this stuff.
It's Hazelwood.
Yeah. This concentrated solar thermal has the potential for 24/7 power. Recently, we had a plant in Spain produce 36 days straight of 24/7 power. So this is not some space age technology. This is
stored power.
Stored power. So
That's
right. So there's a hell of a lot of energy that goes to heat the solar tower. That stores the energy in molten salt. The salt keeps the energy going through the night, and then when the sun kicks in the next day, so it goes on.
Way they salvage that.
Sorry?
How do they salvage the energy?
It's basically molten salt technology, and it's basically, I've got another model I could show you.
Oh,
but
sorry, yeah, I see.
yeah. But it's essentially a very clever technology by allowing that heat to be stored, and then that heat drawn off through the evening and through, you know, when the sun's not shining, to still create the, you know, still generate that energy and allow the turbines to keep moving 24 hours a day. Yeah, that's right. We've seen huge increases in the installation of PV around the world. You can just see the exponential increase that's going on. This is what's led to solar PV prices dropping by over a third in the last couple of years. And this is a global phenomenon. This is not just what's happening in Australia. We're all benefiting in Australia. We're all a lot. You know, we've got 1.4 million houses in Australia already with PV on their roofs. Another 3.5 million houses projected to put solar PV on their roofs over the next 5 years. That makes 5 million households in Australia with solar PV. This is a revolution. It's really revolutionising the way the energy sector works in Australia. It's addressing things like peak demand in the middle of the day in summer, where you've got air conditioners all coming on. That's exactly the same time that solar PV is chipping into the grid. It's reducing the spikes in energy demand, and meaning that wholesale energy prices, instead of peaking at $4,500 a megawatt hour, as they were 3 years ago in the heat wave in South Australia and Melbourne. They're only peaking at $500 a megawatt hour. So huge benefits for the grid, huge benefits for the consumer in terms of reduction in wholesale electricity prices.
And do you know any Australian companies looking at actually making the grid capable of dealing with all this juggling the power problem?
Yeah, look,
overseas companies, but I'm yet to hear an Australian company actually taking it seriously.
Yeah, look, there's a lot of Australian companies taking this seriously because you need the grid to distribute this energy. And as I mentioned, these technologies, solar PV and other technologies, enhance the grid. They don't destabilise it, they actually enhance the grid and support the grid and its operation around Australia. Huge potential in South Australia as well with pump storage, hydro, wind, solar thermal, where we could potentially connect the grid up to WA as well and have that renewable energy going both ways from WA and from the south of Australia through to WA.
Like AGL, Origin, or anything you're really investing in, do you think?
As we know, AGL and Origin maybe could be a bit more progressive in this space. They're the ones who are challenging the RET, the renewable energy target. We'd like to be working with Origin and AGL because this revolution is occurring. It's happening regardless of what they are doing on gas. You know, we have a pretty strong no gas message in BZE. Gas is a fossil fuel. Gas prices are rising to meet the international price. That's going to double gas prices in the very near future. And we're encouraging a no gas message because we have the electrical appliances in both cooking and heating and high efficiency appliances to meet those energy needs. We've seen the same with wind. So the wind phenomena is again really kicking off, again exponential growth globally. The most new installed capacity in Europe in 2010 was from wind, not from coal, not from gas, not from solar. It was from wind. Solar's making a huge contribution in Europe too, but wind, all the largest growth in new installed capacity was wind. And we all know the potential for wind in Australia as well. And as I said, this is happening. Energy companies should be getting on board, being part of this, these changes, and they will all benefit, rather than potentially being in the same situation as the Australian car manufacturers are in right now, because they didn't move with the times, they didn't see the writing on the wall, they didn't change their business models to be dynamic and move with the times, and also facilitate some of these changes.